Hey, what if I told you the secret to true strength was not being tough, but being vulnerable? You know, I know for myself, the better part of my life, I've been taught to hide my weaknesses, and that showing anything like that is a detriment to any kind of success or safety or anything of those. However, once I became available or able to embrace my true raw self, it became a superpower for me, overcoming obstacles and building true connections with those around me, whether it was in my business or out of my business. As a matter of fact, it's one of the reasons why I became a team leader and why I cherish this position so much. You know, when I shifted over into real estate at the age of 51, I had worked in corporate America. I had achieved levels of leadership. And actually, before I went into it, I had quite a comfortable and secure position, union pay, benefits, the whole nine. However, that when that voice inside me said, have I reached my true potential? And of course, the answer was no. And then the next question was, what would eat at me more if I tried or failed, if I didn't try? And of course, not trying is always going to eat at me. And then the next thought that it happened immediately after that was, well, I've never really failed at anything, but I've walked away from a lot of things. And when I didn't fail, most of the time I ended up in the top 20%. So that gave me the courage to move forward and embrace this idea of a real estate career. However, once I did it and I was in it, the excitement and the emotion of moving into it was great. But once I was in it, there was a moment that I paused and I said, wait a second, I'm exposed. I am not the 20-year veteran. I am that freshman in high school walking into the cafeteria with my tray for the first time, trying to find a group that's going to, that I can hang out with, right? And that, while that was tough enough as it was at the age of 14, imagine at the age of 51, you're like, wait a second, this is not what I signed on for. However, because I live by these set of principles that allow me to be vulnerable, I was able to ask for help. I was able to put myself in a room of others that made me feel safe and that I can grow in. And I was able to find individuals that had what I want, and I was willing to do what they did to get it. However, once the opportunity came to be in this position, I said, here's an opportunity for me to help others when they're at that moment in their real estate career or their business career, wherever it is, whether it's the beginning, the middle, towards the end, when you say, oh, wait a second, I'm vulnerable and I can't show that. I can't show my weakness. So what do? We hear that term, fake it till you make it, or we put a Band-Aid over something, which is not really healing. It's just covering it up. So I feel like if as a leader I can serve my agents and I can serve those who are in business with me and giving them a space to where it's okay to be vulnerable, and then we can work through, because once all that's telling me is, here's a spot where I'm vulnerable. If we shore that vulnerability up, that vulnerable spot up, it becomes strength. For instance, if you say, I am vulnerable because I don't like to lead gen or I don't feel comfortable on the phones. Well, if we work on that and you become comfortable on the phones, it becomes a strength, because that one area where your business might have been soft or exposed is now covered. And that's how you build a bulletproof business. That's how you build bulletproof relationships, by communicating the vulnerability. If I'm running a team, I want to know where our vulnerable spots are, and I want my team to be able to communicate to me where they feel vulnerable. Because if I can, as a leader, I can help shore up those vulnerabilities. Not only am I shoring up my team, but I'm shoring their confidence up and their ability to grow. And as they grow, my business grows. So I am not ashamed of admitting that I'm vulnerable in certain areas. I don't see it as a sign of weakness. As a matter of fact, if I make sure that I align myself with leaders and individuals that feel the same way, and that I can go say, hey, I'm vulnerable in this area, I can be exposed in this area, and they jump right into the solution with me. So if this is resonating with you at all and you feel there's vulnerabilities in your business or in your life, I'm ready to jump in there with you and let's get into the solution. Subscribe, reach out to me, 516-551-6599. Text me, let's get it on.